So next up we have Mal Karwowska. Mal Karwowska is the Vice President and Corporate Development, is the Vice President, Corporate Development and Investor Relations of Newcore Gold Ltd. Newcore is advancing its flagship Enchi Gold Project in Ghana, West Africa, with a focus on unlocking value through exploration and resource expansion. Please welcome Mal to the stage.
Perfect. Thanks for your patience, and thank you everyone for joining today to hear about Newcore Gold. Once again, my name is Mal Karwowska, and I'm the Vice President of Corporate Development and Investor Relations for the company. At Newcore, we are advancing our Enchi Gold Project in Ghana. We do trade on the TSX-V, ticker is NCAU. Please note that I will be making some forward-looking statements, and I do encourage you all to take a look at the disclosure on our website. At Newcore Gold, we are advancing our Enchi Gold Project in Ghana. This is a proven team with a track record and one that has strong alignment with its shareholders. 15% of the equity is held by the board of directors and management. Our Enchi Gold Project is underpinned by economics. We released the results of a PEA study mid-2024 that highlighted the development potential for an open-pit heap leach project. We're now advancing that towards a pre-feasibility study, but we're not losing sight on the longer-term potential at Enchi, given the district-scale exploration that exists and given its location on a prolific gold belt. In terms of the team is led by Luke Alexander, President and CEO. He is a financial background, capital markets, over 25 years of experience in the mining industry. Notably, he spent 12 years in London in institutional sales, so he built very strong relationships with institutional investors as well as with corporates. You may see Greg Smith walking around. He is our VP Exploration. He is a geologist with over 35 years of experience, specifically drilling out these large-scale deposits on greenstone-hosted belts. Myself, VP Corp Dev and IR, come from a finance background as well. Importantly, this company has been founded by Doug Forster and Blaine Johnson. You may have come across them given their strong track record in the industry. They were behind Newmarket Gold, which had a high-grade discovery in Australia and then sold to Kirkland Lake Gold, as well as Calibre Mining more recently, which went from exploration to production to multi-mine mid-tier producer before being acquired by Equinox Gold recently. So given that track record and the relationships that the group has, you see that reflected in our share ownership. So alongside that management and board, 15%, very strong institutional ownership. About 55% of our stock is held institutionally with long-term value-focused funds, such as Franklin Templeton, Aegis Financial, and Ruffer. Alongside that, we have strong capital market support with research coverage from both Canaccord as well as SCP. In terms of that corporate snapshot, basic shares outstanding, 255 million. About 175 million Canadian market cap currently. But importantly, we are fully funded. So as of March 31st, our cash balance was 15 million Canadian. That not only funds the 35,000-meter drill program that we have underway, but it also funds the completion of a pre-feasibility study next year and all our corporate G&A. And importantly, in addition to that, we have the potential for proceeds of 14 million from the exercise of warrants that are all well in the money and expire in September and then in February. So with that 14 million of additional cash that we fully anticipate will come in, we can be strategic in terms of increasing our drill program and continuing to advance the development of our project. Our Enchi Gold Project is located in Ghana, in the southwest corner of Ghana in West Africa. Ghana is a phenomenal jurisdiction. It is Africa's largest gold producer. It's the 6th largest globally. It has a stable democratic government that is pro-mining, pro-development. It has skilled mining labor. It's English-speaking. But importantly, look at who's actually operating in country. That really speaks to the quality of the jurisdiction. You have 4 major senior gold producers with gold mines in Ghana. Zijin's the latest addition to this, given their acquisition of Achim earlier this year. And then Newmont. Newmont continues to deploy capital into Ghana to increase their exposure. They're currently investing about $1 billion into Ahafo North to expand their footprint in Ghana. It is one of their main gold mines and producers of gold within the portfolio. So in terms of our Enchi Gold Project, we did release the results of a PEA study in mid-2024. It highlighted the development potential for an open-pit heap leach project. At a $3,000 gold price, those economics are 971 million US after-tax NPV, 136% IRR, and less than a 1-year payback. That's really driven off the fact that this is a heap leach project, which has low upfront capital. Not only are you not building a mill, but contract mining is very standard in West Africa, so you're not buying a mining fleet. So all of that keeps your capital, your upfront capital, very low. The PEA also highlighted a robust production profile for us to build on. So 122,000 ounces per year over a 9-year mine life, generating 1.1 million ounces life of mine. Importantly, we believe this is really just a starter, a base case. Given the exploration potential across the project, we think not only will we extend that mine life, but there'll be plenty of opportunity to fill in those later years through exploration. And importantly, what this PEA highlighted is that all of that can be done through cash flow. At a $3,000 gold price, our PEA highlighted after-tax cash flow life of mine of almost $1.3 billion US. Not only does that fund all of your sustaining capital, but it leaves plenty of cash flow to redeploy into exploration of the project. Lastly, with this PEA, it provided very significant leverage to the gold price. It highlights Enchi's leverage. When you look at the valuation of the PEA at $3,000 gold, that generates an after-tax NPV of $971 million US. You now compare that to our current market cap, which is roughly $130 million US. We're trading at roughly 0.15 times the value that has been defined in this PEA study. So we truly believe that as we continue to de-risk and define the merits of our project technically and advance it to a pre-feasibility study, that this multiple should contract, that our market value should more accurately reflect the value that's been defined of the project within the economic study. And importantly, this does not include any of that exploration upside that I will talk about. So we see this as real blue sky potential longer term. So Enchi sits on a prolific gold belt in the southwest corner of Ghana. Enchi's on the Sefwi-Bibiani belt, which hosts a number of operating mines with multi-million ounce gold endowments. So Newmont's Ahafo mine, that's the mine that they're investing another $1 billion into for expansion. Over 20 million ounces defined to date. Asante's Bibiani and Chirano mines located to the north of our Enchi project. That has an endowment of over 10 million ounces. At Enchi, we believe we've only just started to scratch the surface. 740,000 indicated with an additional 970,000 in the inferred category. We think there's a lot more room to grow. So in terms of a snapshot of our project, Enchi, 248 kilometers squared, 40 kilometers from end to end, and 5 deposits currently identified on the project. So our 2 main deposits are Siyum and Boyne. That hosts about 80% of our current resource, followed by Nyam, Kwachikrum, Tokase. Importantly, all of these are open along strike. There's parallel structures that have been identified at all of these deposits, and also they're all open at depth for exploration. We then have a number of targets where we've drilled, but we have yet to define a resource. So Arati, Kojina Hill, Siyum South, and then layer in the additional exploration potential of multiple targets that have been defined through trenching, soil sampling that have yet to be drilled. We believe there's a lot more room to grow on that near surface open pittable heap leach resource. The second leg of the exploration stool really comes from looking at the depth potential that exists at Enchi. This is a comparison of Enchi to Chirano on a long section. Chirano is a mine that's been in operations for over 20 years now. It's located 50 kilometers to the north of us along the same belt that hosts our deposits, and it has over 5 million ounces of gold endowment defined to date and growing. When you look at Chirano, it started as a series of open pits. Over time, with exploration and drilling, they defined these higher grade chutes to depth. They're now mining down to about 800 meters vertical, 1 to 2 grams per ton. You look at our Enchi project, most of our drilling has been in that 100 to 150 meter vertical depth, with only a handful of holes going down to 350 meters. So we see a lot of potential to grow the resource longer term through defining that potential that exists for these higher grade chutes. And we are actually starting to see that. We are starting to highlight this proof of concept that exists at Enchi. So our Nyam deposit, our third largest deposit, this is where we've done most of our deeper drilling. And what you can see here is looking at the higher grade mineralization that's been defined on this deposit, looking at a long section. You see the pits that constrain our current resource at Nyam, and you can clearly see with all the drilling that we've done that we're starting to define these higher grade chutes. Recent results from the past few years include 5.8 over 7 meters, 5.6 over 8, 6.6 over 4 meters. This was drilled after we completed our last resource estimate. So we believe that with systematic exploration and further drilling, we will continue to define the real potential that exists at depth at our Enchi Gold Project. In terms of what we have underway currently, we do have a 35,000 meter drill program underway that is, again, fully funded. The first phase of that drilling has been focused on resource conversion. Our focus right now is to take Enchi from PEA to a pre-feasibility study, and a key component with that is obviously taking your inferred ounces and improving them up to a confidence level of indicated. So that first 20,000 meters of drilling that we have completed and we have reported has been predominantly focused on our two main deposits, Boyne and Seum, focused on that infill drilling. But importantly, with that infill drilling, we've actually achieved multiple goals. Not only have we seen this mineralization continue wide zones with higher grade intervals, we're also seeing mineralization outside the limits of the pits that constrain our current resource. So we believe that we'll see resource growth with this drilling that has been completed and that will be completed. So these are a few of our more recent results from last month at our Boyne deposit. Again, that is our second largest deposit currently identified at Enchi. KBRC 352, that encountered 2.25 grams per ton over 56 meters, including a higher grade interval of 3.83 grams per ton over 15 meters. KBRC 357, 4.4 grams per ton over 24, with a higher grade interval of 9 grams per ton over 10 meters. And importantly, both these holes intersected mineralization outside the limits of the pit that currently constrains the resource. This is highlighting the resource growth potential from that drilling that we have completed at Enchi and at Boyne. So we're very encouraged and very excited about the drilling. These are another set of holes from that same drill program. Once again, you're seeing higher grades, wide zones of mineralization encountered outside the limits of the pit that constrains the resource estimate. Diving into a long section of Boyne, this highlights all the drilling we've completed. With that 20,000 meters of drilling at Boyne to date over 2024 and 2025, what's clear to see here is that we are encountering mineralization outside the limits of the pits. In gray, these are the pit shells. That contains our current resource estimate. These drill highlights clearly show mineralization outside of the limits of those pits. So we're very excited that with this infill drilling that we're completing, that we're also focused on seeing resource growth. And we will be completing a mineral resource update alongside that pre-feasibility study that is underway. So in terms of our key takeaways and what investors can look for going forward, we do have a 35,000 meter drill program underway. The first 20,000 was focused on infill. We'll now look at completing some earlier stage exploration drilling, and also we will look to do some drilling on those deeper, higher grade targets that exist on our property to continue to define the longer term potential that exists at Enchi to host a much larger project. We're funded for all of that. We're funded for a pre-feasibility study. We are working towards commissioning that pre-feasibility study later this year, currently working through geotechnical, hydrogeology, metallurgical test work, all the technical work you need to push go on a pre-feasibility study alongside a resource update, targeting release and completion of that pre-feasibility study in the first half of 2026. And as a reminder, at Newcore Gold, this is a team with a track record and one that is aligned with its shareholders. We have very strong capital market support and institutional support, with 55% of the equity held institutionally. Our Enchi project has an established resource in a multi-million ounce gold district. We believe that we have a much larger resource potential on our project through exploration, but we're underpinned by economics. We're advancing the development of our project towards a pre-feasibility study and construction, as we have very, very robust economics that we're excited to then redeploy through the cash flow into exploration to define the longer term, larger scale potential of our project. Please do follow us on social media. We'll put out some great content out there. And if you have any questions, please come find Greg Smith or myself at the conference, or reach out directly. Thank you so much for your time today.